Today, I wanted to offer the concept of Feedback Fridays. And the idea of feedback isn't so much you're asking feedback from everybody or like they do in business or in training courses around the world. It's more about giving yourself feedback. And that's related to the goals that you've been trying to achieve, the vision that you maybe wrote down after we talked about it in terms of what you're trying to create. But the idea is that based on the concept of MBO or measure by objective or management by objective in management theory, you need to have some kind of goal or process or idea of what you're trying to do over time. And then you basically measure how you did. And what, as you do that, you can calibrate or you can adjust. So if you're doing too much, you can kind of bring it down. If you're not doing enough, then you can bring it up. That way you can see if you're getting closer to achieving the goal or stated reality that you're trying to create. For example, for me, one of my goals is to get my heart rate, resting heart rate down and my cardiovascular power up. So an HRV to increase my HRV scores and things like that. So how do I do that? Well, just walking isn't going to do it. So what I do is I do some breathing exercises in the morning. I do some cold plunge therapy. So I put myself in cold, either submerging or cold showers, which changes your heart rate and things like that, and breathing. And then I also do like breath hold exercises throughout the day to kind of approximate hypoxia and things like that to change how the efficiency of my heart. But even that alone doesn't quite do it. So I do running. I run 2 to 3 times a week, and I jump rope every day. And to make sure that I'm on with the program, I instituted the Jump for Life challenge. So, for most people, it's going to be 100 skips a day. If you can do that, you're great. That's going to give you a lot of power, a lot of energy. My thing is to increase my volume every week. So right now, until I get to about 1,000, I don't think I really want to spend, hours and hours jumping rope. So right now I'm at 400, and that 400 takes me, I don't know, maybe 6 minutes or 8 minutes, depending on how quickly I'm going or how much recovery I need. But the idea is that, I'm looking at it and I'm doing it every day, and that's increasing my volume, is increasing my heart rate, is increasing my capacity, things like that. So looking forward in maybe 6 or 8 more weeks, I should be at my 1,000. And then my heart rate should be measurably lower. So the idea is, just like they do in business, is to take key indicators to your goal, whatever the goal is. And then you look at your key indicators, see if those you can increase them or decrease them depending on what you're trying to do. So if I'm trying to increase my heart volume or stroke volume and strengthen my heart, then I obviously have to do things that raise my heart rate, right? And then, but if I want to increase my parasympathetic response to stress, then I need to learn how to control how my heart manages the stress through breathing exercises or relaxation, meditation, and things like that. So I think that a weekly check-in is generally good. I mean, we did this in the teams that we were in both in work and in other transformational work that I've done in the past. And in martial arts, your check-in is every time you go to the dojo. So some people go once a week, some people go 3, 4, 5 times a week. But every time you go in, you get a check, because you're training with other people who are also training. And so how you do, sometimes it's form, so that's the teacher gives you the feedback, and sometimes it's more like actual resistance training, like in kickboxing or in jiu-jitsu or in Sancho. So you learn by your sparring and how well you do. And it's not just winning or losing, because that's not really the most important things. I mean, all the MMA fighters, they spar and they don't really spend tons and tons of time doing going to the end and trying to beat someone down. They're just putting themselves in positions to see what their weaknesses are and what their strengths are, and then see how they can get their weaknesses cleared out or modified or modulated, and ways that they can bring in their strengths. So what we're talking about is like a working document, a working way of dealing, maybe having a journal that you can look at, and or an accountability partner or friend that you can do this feedback with, and you say, okay, these are the things I tried to do, and these are the things that actually happened. Then you go, what's missing? And then you go, what's going to happen next? So just to give you my quick thing. So the jump rope, everything is good. The exercise is very good. I'm doing a minimum 12,000 steps, so that's good. My goal was to sleep 7.5 hours a day. And last week I was totally on it, and I had 8 hours and change. This week it's kind of down to like 7:25. So I have 2 more days to fix that, so that I can bring it back up to my average of 8 hours a day. I mean, you can't always hit your numbers every day. My recovery scores are pretty good. They're in the, I use Whoop and I also use Fitbit, and they're all in the good range. But I'd like to make them in the excellent range, because obviously the better recovered you are, the healthier you are, the stronger you are, the less likely you are to get sick. So these kinds of things I'm working on. I do meditation through breathing, walking meditation and sitting meditation. So I want to add some more kind of like heartfelt meditations to kind of work on the emotional aspect. Mostly I've been working on the mental and physiological. So I just want to add that. And in terms of like blogs and vlogs and actually work stuff, I can see that the way I've been doing things hasn't worked really well, because I've been all over the place, getting some things done, being delayed in some areas. So I'm going to create a dedicated time and space for myself I have a space, but I don't have a dedicated time where I have less, distractions and less things in the way. And maybe, as they said in Atomic Habits, stack the habits, so that everything is boom, 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 boom. And then I can get my reading, my studying, my working, my meditation, all of those things done pretty much squared away early on, and then be more present for the people around me. So this is what I'm talking about. It's like creating a plan for yourself, because right now, that's basically all we can do, is plan and execute little things that we can do personally or locally. And if we don't have that, then when things do change and we are available, to go out and work and do things, we're not necessarily going to be ready, or we're going to be behind the people who actually are doing this kind of work. Because guaranteed, there will be people, a lot of people, they're hungry, they're ready, they want it, and they're going to be there. And you and I are all going to be, unfortunately or unfortunately, competing with them to get the things that we need, whether it's work, money, work opportunities, safety, all kinds of things. We need to be ready for what's coming. And no one, there's a lot of stories about what's coming, but we can't really rely on all of that. We can rely on is ourselves, and being strong, healthy, fit, mentally clear, focus with a plan. That we can help. So my offering is that you get your feedback in every week. Make sure you're tracking what you're doing and see if you're getting closer. And if you don't have goals, if you don't have plans, then start getting them. Because you can't, what is that saying that says, no one rises to low expectations. So if you don't have an expectation or a goal or something that you're trying to achieve, you're not really going to move forward. You're going to stay where you are or slide back. And this is not the time, as we know. One of the things that has been shown on the COVID-19 is that people who are have hypertension, all kinds of, in many ways, changeable situations. I mean, unless you're genetically predisposed to hypertension, that's something you can change through breathing or exercise. Diabetics or diabetes, losing weight, all of these things you can change through lifestyle modifications. And those people who have that squared away have a better chance of survival. Those who do not will not. And it's not about insulting or shaming or anything like that. It's just about being fit and prepared. And I'm not an ableist. I'm just a realist in terms of like what we're dealing with. And who knows what the world order is going to be like. And I'm not trying to gloom and doom, but it's definitely become a little bit more serious and a little bit heavier. So we need to be prepared. So I know it's a long rant. Bottom line, make a plan, prepare, execute. That's it. It's real simple. And take a day, once a week. I mean, some people do it once a day, but once a week is good enough. If you do like a nightly thing, that's fine. But a weekly, just check in and give yourself feedback. Grade yourself. Be real. Don't be overly nice. If you're not making the grade, then you're not making the grade. But then just work on it. Make sure that you're good, and then you work on it and get better. That's it. That's all I got for you. Oh, two quick things. I know it's a long post today, but the first is yesterday when I was walking on my way to do training and stuff like that, do martial arts training. I saw this kid who must have been like 12, 13 years old. He was running, and it wasn't early. It was something like, it was like 6 o'clock at night, and it's getting dark. So, you're never too young or too old to be, and then I also saw a woman she had to be in her 70s, maybe 80s running. I know some places that are locked down, it's hard to do that, but you can run in place in your apartment if you need to. But one thing I know is that people are doing it and they're getting some distraction, they're getting close to nature, and they're getting healthier and stronger, and they're preparing, like I said. The other thing is, and this is something that probably all of you know, there's a famous guy, Sir Isaac Newton, who is responsible for many things, physics, modern physics, calculus, and the theory of gravity, and 3 laws of thermodynamics and things like that. Well, what most people don't know, and I just found out reading a book recently, is that he was alive during the time of the Black Death, the plague. And he was going to, if I'm not mistaken, he was in Cambridge, and in not Cambridge, Massachusetts, but Cambridge in the UK, in England. And they stayed there, holed up, and then they realized it was getting too crazy. So people went home, and he went home to a farm, to his family, and people were, just like us, going crazy, and they were freaking out and thinking that God was punishing them, and the world was coming to an end, and he didn't do that. What he did is he took some of the problems that he was working on in math, because he was getting his degree in math, and he just started working on the math problems, and he started working on his theories, and he started making experiments. And it was like 22 months, so almost 2 years, he was in quarantine, essentially self-quarantine in the countryside with his family. And in that time, he developed calculus, he developed physics, he developed a bunch of things. So we have that opportunity. We don't have to be here like going, oh, gloom and doom, oh my God, and watching the next YouTube about some conspiracy that's out there, whether it's 5G or the Illuminati or whoever else is out there trying to control the world and make a one world. Like if you're entertained by that, that's cool. And I'm not hating on it or anything, but you can be productive, and you can create things, and you could be better prepared and better than you were when this started, if you take my advice, if you create the Feedback Fridays where you give yourself some feedback and you execute the plans. Because most of us, and I'll be real, most of us, including me, weren't doing this, or at least not very significantly. I used to do this when I was in training, in my teens and in my 20s, which is probably why I did so well in school and in martial arts and things like that. And then, life happens and we forget. And so I'm here to remind you that this works, and just get it done. You won't even thank me. You'll thank you, because your life will be better. So that's it. Thank you for hanging in there, for those of you who are willing to watch this. And I'll catch you tomorrow with something new and something definitely shorter. Bye-bye.